All right, let's talk about OpenAI. Right now, they're the undisputed king of the whole AI revolution. I mean, their success is absolutely spectacular. It's changing everything. But, and this is a big but, all that success? It's hiding a reality that is, well, incredibly shaky. Okay, let's just start with the headline number because it is absolutely wild. $500 billion. That was OpenAI's valuation in October 2025. Just let that sink in for a second. That is a 17-fold increase in less than 2 years. We're talking about one of the fastest, most explosive valuation climbs in, well, in corporate history. And look, that kind of valuation, it's not coming from nowhere. It's fueled by just pure, unadulterated hypergrowth. By mid-2025, their annualized revenue shot up to $13 billion. That's more than tripling in just 1 year. I mean, every chart, every metric, it's all pointing up and to the right. But this is exactly where the story starts to get complicated. Because for all that success, look at this number, -$8 billion. That's how much cash OpenAI is projected to burn through in 2025 alone. So you have to ask, right? How on earth can a company be this successful and at the exact same time be this deeply unprofitable? It's a massive paradox. So yeah, let's dive in and unpack it. Okay, to really get what's going on here, you have to look inside the company itself, at its, frankly, bizarre and conflicting foundation. It's almost like OpenAI has this split personality. On one side, you have its original mission and ideals, and on the other, the cold, hard cash it desperately needs just to survive. You know, OpenAI didn't start like a normal company. Back in 2015, it was a pure nonprofit. The mission was super noble. Build AI for the good of all humanity, no strings attached. But then reality hit, and reality was expensive. The cost of AI research was just astronomical. So, in 2019, they had to pivot, creating this weird hybrid capped profit thing to get investors in the door. And now, well, it looks like even that's not enough. They're moving towards something that looks a whole lot like a regular old profit-hungry corporation. And if you want to know why they keep changing, this quote from CEO Sam Altman says it all. We're not talking millions or even billions. He's talking about trillions of dollars. When you need that much money, it creates this incredible tension, this deep structural conflict between the original do-good mission and the raw demands of capital. And that tension, it didn't just stay behind closed doors. Oh no, it boiled over for the whole world to see. Yeah, that whole crisis back in November 2023, it was the perfect storm. You had the mission-focused nonprofit board, the idealists, suddenly firing Sam Altman. But then, whoa, the backlash was immediate. Almost every single employee threatened to walk out and follow him. The pressure was so intense the board just folded. They were forced out, and Altman was back in charge. It was a power struggle, plain and simple, and it was a crystal-clear victory for the money side in the battle for OpenAI's soul. So, because of this internal conflict and this just insatiable need for cash, OpenAI had to build this massive external support system, a whole ecosystem around itself. But here's the thing about that ecosystem. It's a really delicate web, a web of critical dependencies that could be, well, pretty dangerous. Really, the best word to describe what's going on here is symbiosis. It's this deep, almost existential partnership. And you can't talk about this without talking about their number one partner, Microsoft. Their fates are so completely intertwined now. I mean, it's honestly hard to tell where one company stops and the other one starts. And just take a look at this network. I mean, the scale of these partnerships, it's just mind-blowing. We're talking about a $13 billion plus investment from Microsoft. Hundreds of billions in future commitments to Oracle and Nvidia for data centers and chips. Billions more to AMD. This network makes OpenAI unbelievably powerful, sure, but it also makes them incredibly vulnerable. Their entire existence now hinges on these other companies. And some of these deals are a little weird. Take the Nvidia one, for example. It's what some people call a circular investment. So Nvidia invests capital into OpenAI, right? Then OpenAI turns right around and uses that same money to buy Nvidia's products, their GPUs. It's like I give you $100 and you immediately use it to buy a $100 widget for me. It creates this self-reinforcing loop that has some people worried about a market bubble because it gets really hard to see how much of the demand is real and how much is just money going in a circle. Okay, so let's recap. We've got an unstable core, a company at war with itself. We've got these massive external dependencies. So that brings us to the most critical question of all. What happens if this whole thing goes sideways? What's the risk here? Not just for OpenAI, but for the entire tech industry. Because let's be crystal clear. If OpenAI fails, it's not going to be some isolated event. It's not just one company going under. They are so central to the entire AI story right now that their collapse would send a shockwave, a systemic shockwave, through the entire tech sector. Think about it. The dominoes would fall, and they would fall fast. Microsoft's entire AI strategy, poof, shattered overnight. Chipmakers like Nvidia and AMD, hundreds of billions in future orders would just evaporate. Venture capital, it would run for the hills, triggering a funding freeze across the whole AI sector. And what about all those startups? The thousands of companies built on OpenAI's API? We're talking about a mass extinction event. Some people are calling this the potential Bear Stearns moment for AI, and that's not an exaggeration. Back in 2008, when Bear Stearns collapsed, it was the first big signal that the whole financial system was rotten. An OpenAI failure would be just like that. It would scream to the world that even the biggest, the best, the most well-funded player in the game couldn't actually make a sustainable business out of this. The loss of confidence would be just massive.
And that leads to the ultimate nightmare scenario, a new AI winter. The fear is that an OpenAI collapse would prove that the fundamental economics of large-scale AI are just broken. What if the cost to compute an answer is always more than what people are willing to pay for it? If that's true, the whole thing is unsustainable, and that could trigger a deep freeze on funding, on research, on everything. It could set progress back for years, maybe even decades.
So that's where we're left, with this one really provocative question. Is OpenAI, this amazing tech pioneer, blazing a trail into a brand new future for all of us? Or has it become so central, so interconnected, so woven into the fabric of the tech world that it's now a systemic risk? A company that is, quite literally, too big to fail?